Hey, what's up, everybody? We're live. I did it. I did it. All right. So yeah, this was some day, man. Figuring all this stuff out. Welcome to another episode of Police Off the Cuff After Hours. My name is Mark DeMeo. I'm your host. Bill is on a vacation tonight with his family. We hope that he's having a wonderful time. I've seen some pictures. He looks like he's having a great time. So I was thinking of who I could get in to be a co-host, and I'm a big fan of our co-host tonight. He's got his own podcast. It's called Mike in New Haven. He's what I call a prodigy, and we're very, very happy to have him. What's up, Mike? How are you?
I'm doing good. I wouldn't go as far as calling myself a prodigy. If you really knew me, you wouldn't say that. But yes, I'm very honored to be here. Big fan of the podcast, and what blast this is going to be.
Yeah, and this is a special episode because I haven't seen my friend here. I think it's 29 years in person. Maybe we bumped into each other once. I don't know.
Maybe.
But thank God for social media, by the way.
Yeah, right.
We went to the police academy together. We were part of the largest group of recruits getting sworn in Brooklyn Tech. And at Madison Square Garden, where we graduated, I think it was a little less than 3,000.
Yeah.
Go figure. We were in the same company together. So we went through the academy together in company 9255. He went on to be a detective with the NYPD. He worked in narcotics. He was actually a canine detective, and he's here with us tonight. What's up, Paul Zito? How are you?
What's going on, Mark? How are you, buddy? Mike, how are you, buddy?
Doing well, man. Can't complain.
All right.
It's really good to see you, man.
I'm very excited, brother. I mean, I've seen you doing your comedy skits and stuff like that, and I'm a follower of you, and I watch the show all the time, and I can't believe you asked me to come on because I mean, you have some big detectives on here. I mean, some case solvers, some big guys, and me. I was your buddy in the academy, but I mean, I was almost like your bestie in the academy, man.
Yeah, I could say if there was three of us. It was me, you, and I can't even. John, what was his name?
Oh man, if we have to start back,
we're both bad with the name.
The guys.
It was pretty much the three of us. Mm-hmm. We had a good company.
Yeah,
and when we look back to the academy, a lot of people don't realize this, Mike. It's like you're back in high school. It doesn't take long, because you're talking about all young guys too. Not young. When I say guys, I mean men and women.
Right.
Young people, young adults. And even though I was probably one of the older people, because I was 25. How old were you?
21.
21. And
just started out, yeah.
What were you doing prior to going into the police academy?
Oh, shit. I was doing like security gigs left and right. Actually, my father got me into a security gig, and I was doing it for American Express. I was doing construction on the side. I was going to college. I was into my second year in college, and I had to take the test and everything, and it just happened to just pop up, and I'm like, I can't do this crap no more. This running back and forth, construction and back and forth. So yeah, when they called me, I was like, my father, it was like his head went up in the air. He was like, I can't believe it, you got in.
And it's just like in school, you gravitate towards people that are like you. And right off the bat, I found Paul. There was a couple other, and everybody was cool in the company, but we were like a clique, and we smoked cigarettes. Now this is gonna. Can you imagine this, Mike? Well, I want to show you something because right now the academy right now is in College Point, Queens, but this is where the academy was when we went.
Yeah,
right in the middle of that's 20th Street.
20th Street in Manhattan.
Yeah, between Second and Third, and we used to. This is the gym floor. If you look in the background, you could see people running. We used to have to run. They used to make us do 1.5 miles in that.
Yeah.
Gym, and that meant it was 27 times around. Wow. And Paul was in phenomenal shape. I was well,
hold on, you were in great shape. Not for nothing. We had the company shirts. It said 92.55. It looked like an extra medium on you because your chest was out to here. It had 92 on one pec and 55 on the other pec. And then the shorts that they gave us were like $1.380. They were like the worst shorts ever. You couldn't get them in a $5 store. That's how
short were they?
And they were so short. I think I saw your nuts hanging out with one shot. And your quads were just exploding out of them. And every step you took, you saw the muscles in your quads like flexing. I'm like, damn, this guy, I got to keep up with this guy. Yeah, he was the tallest guy in the whole, I think, on our whole academy class. You know,
I've been told by mutual friends of ours, he's a giant. What are you, 6'4"?
Yeah. And his hair was like, he had a perfect
face.
When he used to run, he had a perfect coif. That thing used to be like flowing in the wind. And
so did you. So did you. And you know, you could always tell the people that you're going to get along with. And then like you were in good shape too, man. You were young. You know what I'm saying? You were hitting the clubs. You know, you were in phenomenal. You're still in good shape. You're still.
I still try to keep in good shape. You know what I mean? If you know, it's only when you get older everything starts falling down on you. You know, so you gotta try to keep in shape. Whatever.
You gotta stay on top of it.
Right.
You're not gonna be like that forever, Mike.
No.
You're talking to Mike right now because you know he's. Look at the smile on that kid. He's gonna be a star. So anyway, you know what I used to like to do in the academy? I used to like to fuck with people because that's what I do. I still do it now. That's my job. And when we used to start the run, when we got into the academy. So mind you, there's 3,000 recruits, right? So they got to split it into A, B, and C companies. We're all coming in at different times. You're working 7 days a week. You don't even have steady weekends off. The freaking the gym class was packed. The shower room, to take a shower, you had to wait in line, and you didn't even want to bring your towel because it might not be there when you're done. So I would just leave my towel and you just walk naked in the you know, and you just wait in line.
Pack us in like that. It was like it was one squared room, and they're like, all right, it was dark, and they go, this is the shower. You go to the shower, and it was like 30 of us in the shower. And you know you have to bring flip-flops in there because the shit that, you know, guys sweat and all that stuff comes out. It wasn't the greatest place to shower.
But let me ask. I mean, do you think that they did that on purpose to toughen you guys up?
Yeah, of course.
Toughening you guys up?
No, what are you gonna do? You're gonna build separate shower heads for everybody? No, you just throw them in there like animals.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, man.
I'm sure there's military places where it's 10 times worse than that. You got to shower in a puddle or something like that. But you know, it was.
I miss that. I hang out in the shower room at the gym now. It's not the same. You know what it's like to see 300 men coming in and out?
Oh.
So you're just massaging your shoulder, winking at everybody?
Oh, no.
Guys used to bend over, pick up their towels. It was a phenomenal amount of hair.
I was in there for 45 minutes one day. I stayed for the B company, too. I'm kidding. So, you know what I used to like to do? I used to like to... like I said, I used to like to fuck with people. So we were the first company. So when we started the run, remember, I'm telling you, it's monotonous. It's monotonous. It's a gym. Mm-hmm. So you're basically running around, 27 times. And there was people that were going to drop out every day.
Every day.
They're called run dropouts. You know, they're happy, whatever. A lot of them just full of shit. They don't want to freaking do it. They go in the middle. They're holding on to their shin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're trying to. There's some people run out for water. It's just a whole scam that's going on there, right? But I used to like to get people out of the run real quick. So as soon as we finished the first lap, I used to yell out, 26 more.
Yeah, I remember you. Yeah.
I used to yell it out, and then all of a sudden he said it trickle in. By the time I said 24, there was like 6 of us running.
Yeah, you had to hear when somebody would yell that out. They'd be like, "Oh!" It was like a crowd. You heard, "Oh!" You know,
I used to come in there hungover, do that run first thing in the morning. It was beautiful.
Yo, but remember, Mark, there was some times where they changed our schedule up that you had lunch first, and they would rip us back into gym.
Yeah,
so
that was the worst time.
You go to the diner and whatever, eat like a big meal or something. You were running 27 times, and you were forget it. The throw ups that you. It was the worst. You see,
and you know the thing is, we're kids too, so we're going out. And I remember we'd go out, and as a company, and we'd go to these bars. Sometimes we'd go to Manhattan. Sometimes we would go in Long Island and meet on the weekends. and it was a really good bonding thing. But at the same time, we had these tests coming up, these exams, and sometimes we probably shouldn't have been out. We should have probably been studying.
Yeah.
What we used to do was we used to quiz each other at the club.
Yeah.
We would be drinking and like to do another shot. Be like, all right, so what's this, that, and the other? And then we would always tell Paul, because Paul, you know,
it was bad. You know, I used to study with this one guy, and basically he had an apartment, and I was 21. I still lived at home. I was living home with my parents, I think, and he had an apartment. So I used to go to his house, and the guy was a big drinker. So we were drinking 40s. I mean, straight up 40s. I was drinking a 40 of St. Ides while doing the thing. And I was like, we were getting cranked out at the end of, you know, at a half an hour, and I'm like, dude, I can't do this no more. I'm finished. He's like, why are you drinking so much? I said, I'm trying to keep up with you, you know. So it was tough. But I was never a great student. Yeah, I can admit that. I was, you know, I got into the academy, and I was like, please God, let me get through this. I just want to make my father happy, because he's an ex-cop. He was, you know, that's his kid.
We all helped each other, though. We all helped each other.
We did. And right before the classes, right before the tests, you know, it's either we were in the cafeteria or something, we're bullshitting. We would just quiz each other back and forth. And you know who the smart kids were, and you know who the guys who would like.
The funny thing is everybody has their own strengths.
Yeah.
So like you could have somebody that like, okay, they could do the run, this, that, and the other, but maybe they weren't so good on the schooling. And then maybe somebody wasn't good at driving, or maybe somebody was a bad shot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you kind of sort of help each other out. Somebody could, you know, not do that great on tests, but be a great shot because they were in the military. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So everybody would help each other out. Mm-hmm. And that was the good. Like, for example, some people couldn't swim. They throw you in the pool there, and you see like, some of the biggest guys in the company, and they're holding onto the wall. They got the raft around them because the kids swim.
Oh boy!
Oh
my God!
Hey, let me give a shout out to some of the people that are tuning in right now. Blondie 1025, hello, thank you for tuning in. Ryan's investigative group, our usual cast and crew here: Rachel Pranzo, Raquel Pranzo, Edward. Kelly, Peter Pranzo, thank you guys for coming. For you know, this is why Bill does this, because I'm horrible at it. Miss you, Bill. Sandra Rivera is here tonight. She did her walk 9 miles. Joanne Blazich, Edward Kelly. Thank you guys for tuning in. Our guest tonight, Tim Acosta, Ron B, Melody McAtee, Michael McClough. Thank you guys for tuning in. Our guest tonight is a friend of mine. We go way back. We graduated from the police academy together. And then once you got out of the academy, where'd you go?
Well, you know what? Remember when they stuck us in the room in the academy in one of the classrooms? They said, all right, we're going to give you your assignments. So I'm like, all right, what's the assignment going to be? Hopefully the guy that I called up made the phone call and can get me where. Because Mike, what you have to do is sometimes you would make a phone call to whoever could help you out to try and get you into a certain precinct or whatever.
A hook, if you will. That's the term, right?
Hook, yes. Right. There you go, a hook. So I had that hook or whatever, and we're in the class, and then we're in the room, and all of a sudden the guy goes, this guy, that guy, and everybody's high-fiving everybody. They're going, yeah, man, this is going to be awesome. They go, Zito, PSA 2, housing. I was like, what?
Oh, you originally were a housing cop, pre-merger.
So they were like, yeah. And one guy in the back, he was an instructor, and he was like, yeah, I hope you got 2 guns there, pal. And I got assigned. I was in housing. I was in PSA 2 in Brooklyn in East New York. So that's between the 7-5 and the 7-3 precinct. So I was on Sutter Avenue.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So just so the audience knows, you're talking about the 3 worst precincts in New York City.
Right.
And you're talking about not just covering the precincts, but covering exactly where they live.
Right.
Like exactly where a lot of the criminals are coming out of.
I mean, from back then, from the 80s into the 90s, the crack craze was out of control. They had the cracks in the vials. And let me tell you something. The first day I got there, I the first day I parked my car, not in the lot where all the cops parked. They firebombed it with Molotov cocktails. So I found out that was going to happen because I got there late at night. So just to get a locker in the PSA 2. So I wind up getting there, and I was there. I sat in there, and they showed us around, and basically, you are a housing cop, and they give you a certain area, project area, where you patrol. You can either do Brownsville projects, the Linden projects, the Tilden projects. So it's really there. There's some tough areas around there, but also very nice people. I met a lot of very nice people around the neighborhood. But it was crazy. I mean, the guys that taught us used to basically tell us, listen, if you want to get a drug collar, just run right up towards the front of the door and watch the dealer. So that's what we used to do. So you run up right to the front of the doors, and above the doors, there was a crease on the top. And this is where they would put their bags of crack. And used to get like 30, 40 vials of crack in a bag or whatever. And that's how they used to whack them out. But it was crazy. I mean, I've never seen so much shooting. When I was a housing cop over there, they said you can't go out in New Year's Eve and 4th of July. Those are the 2 times, because those 2 times you'll wind up getting shot because they let rounds go left and right. They were blowing shotgun rounds, AK-47 rounds. So it was a crazy time. So, but I got to know the place pretty well, and I became a PCO there in the Marcus Garvey projects. So it was nice. It was a fun time. I mean, to start off in a regular precinct, an easy precinct, you would probably learn how to give out parking summonses and stuff like that. I started out with drug collars. I mean, I had Tech 9 machine gun collars. I had a gun collar in my 5th month there. It was a Tech 9, a 380, a bulletproof vest, and 12 people under arrest. I had 7375, all the anti-crime units come in, one-shot deal. It was insane. It was insane. And we almost got shot in the hallway by the whole roundup. So it was crazy. Yeah.
So allow me to ask you this. You were essentially a housing cop during the last hurrah for housing. Of course, the merger happens in 1995, where transit and housing is merged into the NYPD. Right. Some cops liked it because it gave them the chance to advance their careers. Other cops didn't. Were you one of the cops that didn't, or were you on board?
Absolutely, Mike. I tell you, the cops that were there were hardcore, good working cops, and they taught the rookies the right way to do things. I mean, I got taught by some really good guys, and they watched your back. I mean, you're in a hardcore place. They watch your back in that place. And I mean, regardless, you had to walk, because back then there was no cars for no cops, no rookies. Yeah, you were walking. Yeah. I had to walk 6 blocks from the PSA all the way up into whatever project, or if you're lucky, you get a car that'll drop you off near the project, and you would have to walk, 3-4 blocks to get to the record room where you'd have to sign in. So, but it was fun. It was a lot of learning experience. I mean, you don't get that. You don't get that experience working in like a really easy precinct. So I say to guys out there who are going out in the academy and stuff like that, go and get yourself into a good precinct, because you could advance after that and get the knowledge and stuff like that.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, but I mean, housing was great. It was. I was there. I think I was there for like 2 or 3.
When did you find out you were going into housing again?
What's that?
When did you find out you were going into housing?
When we got out of the academy, they put us in the room, and they told us, hey, listen, this is where you're going. This is where you're going. They said, Zito, you're going to PSA 2, East New York, and housing. And I didn't even know what that was. I forgot there was city, housing, and transit. So basically, I got put into the housing detail or whatever, into the precincts, and that's it, man. But it was, I tell you, I have so many stories that I could go back that would.
Were you ever in a shooting?
Yeah, I was in a shooting in the when I worked in the after I got out of housing and I lateraled over, I went back into the 6-2 precinct, the easy precinct in Bensonhurst, and I winds up. I was there for about 8 years. And I was doing anti-crime for about 4 years there. And in one scenario, we had a group of guys that were doing robberies. They were robbing Orientals coming off the trains. So me and my partner at the time, we got a tip from someone, and we sat on this vehicle they were using for the robberies. So we were in Park Slope. So that 7-2 was letting us sit on this because we got the tip. So we were sitting on below the on one of the streets on 48th, and this was 8th Avenue. So they were on top. We watching the vehicle up on top, and finally they got in. So I'm sitting with my partner, and we're there, and we're going, yeah, what are we having for breakfast? I didn't eat this area. So we basically sat in the area, and all of a sudden I said, oh shit, the fucking car's moving. So the car started taking off. We wind up following it, get it down, and made a right turn and hit down on the in one of the lights. And then from there, we came out. We ran out. My partner wound up going on one side, and he grabbed the driver. The driver had a gun on him, so he pulled him out. And then the other the driver, he reversed the car, knocked me down, and then smashed into our crime car. And then my partner let a round go into his car because he had a steering wheel with the gun on it, so he had it right with him. So he didn't know who was coming up on him. So basically, he came at me and he tried to crush me up against the cars. So I let like 3 rounds go. He let 2 rounds go through the windshield. And then my partner was like, I don't know, Dirty Harry. He was like, he let about 13 rounds. I was like, that's it, enough. So there was bullets flying down there, but he hit the car a lot. And we wound up getting this guy. He ratted the guy out, and wind up, I think the 7-2 squad found him in like a crack house or something like that, and they grabbed him. But it was that type of this guy. This guy did about 16 robberies at gunpoint.
My goodness. I do want to ask, not to cut you off, Mark. Mark, when you were on my show, I asked you about the danger of the job, and what you told me was interesting. When you're young, you don't really think about it. Was Mark's response to me. So I'll ask you. After an experience like that, in which you could have been pinned up against that car, you could have been seriously injured. Did it change your outlook and perception on the dangers of the job?
It does flicker in your head that you can get into an incident, something like that. Most of the time, guys are just, they have to look out. They have to watch they have to watch every angle that they're in their perspective while working. So, but when this happened, it was like, shit, we're in it right now. These guys have guns. These are the guys, and we got to grab them. You know what I mean? And when the rounds started flying, it was crazy. It winds up, I got the audio to the, I think from One Police Plaza. I had the audio from it, and somehow I actually lost it in Hurricane Sandy. My house got wiped out. So, but I had the audio, but it was fun. There was people calling from all different houses in 911 calls. The school called because we were right down the block from the school. That's why I told him. I said, my partner, stop, that's enough, no more rounds. So it was wild.
It's incredible because when you're in the academy and we're in the same company together, it's almost, like you don't know what the future is going to lie. You don't know where anybody's going to wind up. And they actually say this to you, you're probably never going to see these people again. That's how big the job is.
Yeah,
that they actually say that to you. There's a good chance that you're not going to see anybody that was in your company for the next 20 years.
Have you seen anybody? I haven't. I think I ran into 2 people.
Johnson. There's been a few.
Yeah.
Not as many as you would think. There's people that I never saw again, like not even on social media.
Yeah, I know. It's
like whatever happened to the couple that got married while they were. There's a couple that met they were in the same company, and they wound up getting married.
Yes,
that's a great love story.
Yeah, it was a love story. And I think were they seeing each other in the academy or at the same time?
Yeah. They started right there in the academy. They wound up getting married.
I remember. Who I kept in touch with? Johnson.
Robert Johnson.
Robert Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I had him. He was part of the original show that I did way back when, where I met Bill, where I pulled Bill in to do it. Rob was one of my guests on that too.
He was like the big teddy bear. I love that guy. I mean, he was just he was a father. He had kids at the time, and I wanted him to graduate. And he was just a really great guy, you know.
He was the other big guy in our company, and we were always team up together. So I was the guy who had to like take his punches.
Yeah, exactly.
Fun, I'll tell you that.
We had some.
You know what? Where are we right now? You know what?
25 minutes in.
I got a couple commercials I want to do right now, and so here we go. Just give me a chance to get this thing up here. All right, check this out, folks. If you're looking to relocate to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Carol Waters of Beach Realty Group has been buying and selling property in the Myrtle Beach area for 11 years now. Carol and her husband, Rob Mahone, he's a retired FDNY firefighter and NYPD police officer, work as a team. Carol has a multi-million-dollar producer for the past 10 years. They have great knowledge of all the aspects of the real estate industry. Carol is well known in the Irish community in New York. She worked in Fitzpatrick's Manhattan Hotel for over 20 years behind the stick. Originally born in the Bronx and brought up in County Mayo, Ireland. Contact Carol Waters for all your real estate needs in the Myrtle Beach area. You'll see it right there. It's Carol Waters Sells MB@gmail.com. And here's the deal, man. I need to get out of New York. No, I'm serious, man. So once again, I'm going to put it up for you folks. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know if I want to go through another wave of what it used to be here. I'm too old for it. So this is South Carolina is probably some place that I think it's at the top of my list of places I'd go.
It's like the 6th borough.
The
Myrtle Beach area. Yeah, man. Why not? Why not go to some place that's decent? I mean, there's no reason why. Listen, okay, people come to this country for a reason. Because there's opportunity here for a good life.
Yeah.
People in this country have every right to go to some place to live where there's opportunity for a good life. And sometimes you got to bail out. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just got to bail out of where you grew up, where you lived, everything that you know. There's nothing worse than seeing old people like still stuck in an apartment in this horrible neighborhood just because they don't want to go. Like, oh, how are my kids going to find me? They're going to know your new address. Get out of here. All they got to do, just give me your new address.
Yeah.
You know, I'm based up in New Haven, Connecticut, my entire life, born and raised here in New Haven, though I have some family in the city of Manhattan and the Bronx. New Haven will always be home. But if you ask me tomorrow, do I want to pack up and leave? I'd say, yeah. I'm just about out on the Elm City. So I feel you.
Could you go to any place else better than Myrtle Beach, South Carolina? I mean, think about it.
Yeah, I would if I wasn't broke.
Right now, what would you say?
If I wasn't broke, I would.
Yeah, whatever.
Like,
what'd you say?
What was that, Paul?
You're still young. Don't worry about it.
No, I'm not in a rush. I'm taking my time. But when I'm ready.
You're not broke.
I'm telling you,
started yet.
I've had like 5 friends in the past month. That's it. Florida bound. They're gone.
Yeah.
South Carolina, Florida. They're all going to that area. It's a hot spot. And I've seen on a couple of things on on Facebook or whatnot. And they're saying like Manhattan, it's a dead zone. It's so dead there. It's not like what it is. It's just.
Well, I'm in the city every day.
Yeah.
And
you see a difference or no? You see a big difference or?
I mean, it's starting to come back. We're doing shows again now.
Right.
There's people out there. It seems like there's tourists out there because, they're in the club.
Yeah.
I did 3 shows on Friday and 3 shows on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So they're out there. You know what I'm saying? It's going to build back up again. The whole thing is just the quality of life, not even the tourism. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just seeing the same person every single day that, you're not getting that break that you used to get from the person that terrorizes the neighborhood.
Yeah.
They're not gone for a day, sometimes a month, sometimes maybe 6 months, sometimes, because there's people that just terrorize a particular neighborhood. And on that note, I'm going to do the next commercial. You ready for this?
Well,
you want to terrorize your plate. You want to get add some spice to your food. Listen up, guys and gals. This is I'm talking about the best hot sauce in the world. It's called Silk City Hot Sauce, and it's made in small batches using pure ingredients. They use the locally grown peppers, and that is what the foundation of every bottle of Silk City Hot Sauce is. They have so many different flavors. They got Bobby Big, Chipotle, Aztec, Attack, Badass Juice, Slurp, Mango Madness, Climate Change, Killer Hot, Ghost Whisper. And if you haven't noticed, my jaw is coming in really nice lately, and that's because I've been on a diet. I'm getting rid of the acidity in my diet. I'm back into shape, and the only spices that I have on my food are from Silk City Hot Sauce. So please visit silkcityhotsauce.com, and you'll get 15% off if you use the coupon code OTC. Copy? Use the coupon code OTC.
Nice.
And I want to give a shout out to a couple people that gave the super chat. I'm a little bit behind here.
I'll scroll up if you want. We have
Here
Sleeping
we
Beauty.
got, Peter Franzo, thank you so much for the super chat. Sleeping Beauty. Drugs are bad where I'm at. I reported drugs in a house this past Saturday, and the police told me they can't act on it. They have to wait for a team to come up for searches when they are scheduled. All right. I don't know where you live, Sleeping Beauty, but that sounds like a small-time problem. And because in the big cities over here, they're not coming either, but that's just because they've made it legal.
Yeah.
So thank you for your super chat of $14.99. That's very nice of you. Bill Ryan from Ryan's Investigative Group did a super chat for $5. Thank you, Bill. You're a gentleman and a scholar, and I hope to see you at my album recording. Blondie 1025. Thank you for your $4.99 super sticker. All right, so moving right along. You know what I wanted to do? I want to show you a little something because you at some point you wind up getting into narcotics, right?
Yeah.
And so
after the shooting, I got the inspector, the deputy inspector in my precinct goes, "All right, Zito, I think you're ready for narcotics." I was like, "Shit."
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I was in there. I did anti-crime enough. I was in there for 4 or 5 years in the 62nd precinct. So I was like, all right, let's go. I like change. I was getting it was if you stay in a precinct for that long, you start getting stale. It starts you need change when you go into these precincts. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing to switch. So
no, I mean, listen, you did the right thing. You were always looking for a place with more action. More get involved and change it up a little bit, raise the stakes. And I was always looking to downplay it. I was like, where can we go? We do absolutely nothing. And you're always, how you go to some place and you start asking the cops, like you're at a detail, collar brass, and you're like, hey, where do you work?
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, so you start picking their brain. What are the hours? Nobody's ever asking like, they're always asking for like, how does this fit into my life?
Yeah.
It's not like how can I help the community? Like, okay, because my son plays baseball. I need to be off during the day, whatever. I need to be off in the afternoon. So that's what your whole life becomes. When you first come out of the academy, you're all gung ho, and then life starts setting in. You pick up a wife. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's a couple kids coming, and then the schedule starts changing. You start looking for different things.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
when did you meet your wife? Didn't you just celebrate something like an anniversary or something?
Yeah, it was. It was a 10-year anniversry. It was.
You got married late, right?
Yeah. I was married once before, and I basically I met my wife. I kind of almost like stalked her. It was. It was.
Back then, that was the move back in the day.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Everything is on computers and stuff. So, but the funny thing is, my email address is funny because that's how I got it when I was in narcotics. So, and then I met my wife with my email address, and she looked at it. But basically, she was. It's
knock knock boom. So it could. If you don't know anything about police work, you could just sound like some type of crazy sex guy. Knock knock boom. That's how I do it. I go knock knock boom.
Yeah. I used to, right, Mike. I was the Ram guy on the team for.
That doesn't sound good either. I was the Ram guy. And you tell her that, hey, listen, my email address is knock knock boom. And just so you know, I'm the Ram guy out of the group.
Yeah, you can't get out of it. If you say Ram guy, you're still in trouble. So, I mean, yeah, I was the Ram guy. So that's how I was thinking of emails back then. And actually, I didn't even have an email. And one of the guys from the teams made it up for me and got me on MySpace back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, taking it back with that one.
Right, Mike.
Yeah.
So that's when I met my new wife, and I basically saw her in Atlantic City in a we were at a Halloween party on Halloween, and basically I stalked her and I found her page somehow. I don't know.
What were you dressed as?
I was dressed as, oh man, it was like a rogue FBI, freaking with makeup on. I had all kinds of mohawk and I was like I don't know. But it was one of those guys, and she was dressed as a, I think it was a cowgirl or something like that. And but I wound up meeting her with that, and we typed for a while on MySpace because I didn't know anything about it. I was like, oh, this is great. I'm typing on MySpace back in the day, and so finally I met her the first time, and she goes, you know what the first time was? I met her the first time at Atlantic City. And then the next time was New Year's Eve. She's like, what are you doing for New Year's Eve? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, why don't you come to Atlantic City? I'm here over here. I'm at one of the clubs. I run down there with a whole bunch of guys. And remember, I was like, I got to meet this girl. And they're like, really? All the way to Atlantic City? We don't even know. I says, I don't care what it is. I'll pay for everybody to get in. So it was $100 a pop. So I paid for 4 guys. So it cost me $400 just to get them inside the club. So I wind up and I run to my girl, and now I gotta say my wife is 9 years younger than me, so I was kind of gray, and I used to die.
Already.
Yeah, I was gray. I mean, she calls me Santa Claus right now. She calls Mohawk. She calls me like the white Mr. T. So
is that you're younger than me by a lot. You're but what are you? You're 4 years younger than me.
How the hell did you have your hair that dark? I mean,
I got it over here. I got it over there.
Yeah, you got a tiny bit. I'm gray everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just listen. That does it suits you though.
Yeah. So basically, I wound up meeting her, and
you look like that dude on the dances on the thing. So he's dancing with the girl.
When the tinsel falls, when we met each other, tinsel came down. She goes, I don't know if I was kissing tinsel or it was getting in your gray hair and stuff like that. I was like, oh God, I feel so old.
She liked it though. She liked it.
Yeah, she liked it.
You guys look actually like if you had to pick 2 people out that look like they should be together. You know what I'm saying? Like you pair the 2 of you up. You kind of
we're a good match. We're a good match.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
So, Mike, any questions for Paul?
No, it's just one in a moment.
Might be Mike. I'm sorry, I might be talking too much. I don't know.
No. I wanted to make it awkward for Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
No. Well, don't worry. On a question for in a moment, but at least on a side note, at least she didn't do to you what a girl did to me, and that's give you the wrong number on purpose. That happened to be one time.
That's what's going to
pay. Don't worry about it, Mike. That every guy growing up, I think that encounters a woman that they're 100% not sure if they got her or they're going to hook up with her. They give them the wrong number. It's an easy.
I ended up texting.
You're going to be pissed you did that. You're going to be a big star.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But but I was going to ask in regards. I've been tinkering around with this in my head throughout our conversation. Dogs are such a pivotal part to police work, and not just in narcotics. You ask a bomb squad detective, dogs are pivotal to that work too. The relationship between canine and handler in police work and any kind of rescue work is very pivotal. So in regards to looking out for the safety of the dog and making sure the dog is well kept, what are the keys and how close does one become with the dog?
Yeah, I should, before you start, Paul, I should have, we were going to get that, just so the audience knows. Somehow while you were in narcotics, you wound up getting a dog, right? You'd be canine. Well, let's just start from there, and then we'll do Mike's question. Well, how did you wind up becoming a canine guy?
All right, so it was funny because I was doing a search warrant at the time, and I had the case going and stuff like that. We boomed the door and we got in there, and I'm just collecting all the evidence and stuff, and narcotics guys are doing a search or whatever. So all of a sudden, I hear something come up the stairs. So I'm right at the edge of the door in the front. I'm looking around. I hear these squeaky shoes coming up the door. And I hear squeak, squeak. And I'm like, what the hell is that? It sounded like a size 9 Giorgio Brutini patent leather shoes. It winds up, it was an old friend of mine. It was a lieutenant from, he was a sergeant back in the day that worked midnights for me, and he become a lieutenant, and he got the job as lieutenant for canine narcotics. So while I finished the search warrant, he's coming up to me and he goes, he sounds like Joe Pesci too. You got to look at him. And he's like, hey, where's Zito? Is he around here? And I'm like, oh, I says, holy shit, what's up, Jimmy? What's going on? He's like, are you done here? I says, yeah, I'm almost finished. We're almost finished with the search warrant. He goes, nah, are you done with narcotics? You done with the this? You come with me. You come with canine. I was like, holy crap. Because, you know, you start narcotics, and I mean, it's a lot of work. You got CIs, you got cases that throw on your desk every 5 minutes. And then basically, you know, you got to keep working and going out with your team and hustling. You get 12, 13 callers a night. Sometimes my wife told me you weren't home for like 2 days straight sometimes. But in narcotics, I got in and he pulled me in there. So when I got into narcotics, they basically set you up where you have to test out the dogs. The guy from your unit, he's like the trainer. He gets the dogs from the police department. He sends them out. He sends out requests from Arkansas, all over Texas, California, and they bring the dogs in. So now, Mike, when you bring the dogs in, you have to test them out to see if they would wash out. So washing out the dogs was a big part, because sometimes the dogs would hit on certain spots. Sometimes one of the canines won't search. Sometimes they were too aggressive. Sometimes they had either injuries or something like that. But, you know, most of the time they were good, but you had to pick out the right one. And I wound up picking out this female. She was a sable shepherd, and she was just the right size. She was about 65 pounds, because when you get into narcotics and you go through those little cracks and searches and stuff like that, you can't have any big dogs. You can't have a giant looking crazy. See, that picture was from, there was one of my trainers had a Belgian Malinois. They are hyper, super strong, crazy dogs, and they are very good searchers if they're at narcotics. Now he was search and rescue. He was he had attack in him, bite. He had cadaver in him. So, you know, but my dog just had search and rescue and narcotics trained. So when you get the dog,
is that your dog?
Yeah, that's Taz. Yeah. Yeah, I got her when she was I think she was about 2 when I got her. So you get them pre-trained from the trainers, and then we have to retrain them with our dog, in our facilities. So that one, we had that picture right there. I was working with the DETF, and they had a hint that this florist truck was hitting a big load. So we had the dog go right up on a plank and smell the inside. And my dog was there's passive aggressive, and then there's the ones that just stay there and they look up at you. That they tell you that they hit. So my dog would scratch. She was an aggressive dog. So basically, she hit on that dog. Boom, they hit up. It was like, I think we had about 80 boxes filled with pillowcases filled with weed in it. So it was a nice hit on that one. But basically, Mike, what the dog, when you get them, they get pre-trained, and then you have to really get to know the dog, because the dog looks up at you. He doesn't work with anybody else. He didn't really mend with my children. He was very, very careful with my children, very calm, but he was always looking up to me because I was the handler. I was him. We were partners. And that's how the dog should be. You know what I mean? So with your questions, how close you should be with the dog. Yeah, guys are very close. I mean, ESU guys were right next to us in the Brooklyn Army Terminal. And you guys these are attack dogs. And if you send your dog out to bite, you better make sure you know how to get your dog off that bite, because they could do major damage. So my dog was just narcotics, and that's all. I didn't want her to do anything else. I didn't want no bite, no nothing in her. And she was very, very good. I really commend her. I mean, we trained very hard. We did a lot of training with my trainers, and she did a very, very good job. And I helped a lot of narcotic guys out, because sometimes in those search warrants, they can't find those drugs. And when they saw me, they were like, Z, you gotta find this. And sure as shit, it'd be in floorboards. It would be stuck in, I had one that was stuck in a porno, and it was like, it was like five or six bags of heroin or something like that. You know what I mean? So simple stuff, but I mean, I could tell you a million spots where she hit, but it was a great year. And I give a shout out to my old lieutenant, Jimmy Argenziano. He pulled me out of narcotics, which was, you start getting stale in there. And even though I wasn't there for a long time, 3-4 years, but the unit changed my life and I enjoyed it. But it was a very good learning experience, and it's one of the hidden kept units. I had guys when I was ready to retire. I had dozens of guys from narcotics going, because you have to have narcotic work behind you to try and get into that unit, and you have to have a detective shield. So that was a big part of it. And I had guys, please, you got to get me in. You got to get me in. And I was trying to get guys in, but it's up to Lieutenant who he thinks that he wants to get into the unit. So, but it worked out. It was an unbelievable unit.
Awesome, amazing, yeah. See, I did well, Mark. You tried to put me on the spot, but I survived.
You did good. That was a good question.
I could go off forever with these things.
I hadn't brought it up yet, but I was interested about the dog. So the dog comes home with you and stuff like that, and he's basically living with you.
Yeah, basically, the dog comes home with me. So now you make sure you're going through all these apartments and all these houses, and I was doing searches I had to hup my dog up, which is hupping, which is you have to climb up ladders, and I was going through in attics. I had basements that were filled with rats. I had glue traps. My dog went to the hospital about 5 or 6 times for glue traps stuck on it, because once they get them on there, they have to get removed from doctors from the animal hospital. And I was in an animal hospital about 50 times in my time there, getting these glue traps off my dog. And my dog got actually hurt very bad once. We were in the Bronx and we were doing a search warrant, and I was waiting for the team to get out, and it was kind of on my part. And the dog, I was throwing a stick, and the dog got it lodged in its throat, and I had the dog rushed to the emergency room. She was actually bleeding out. It got so stuck in her esophagus, she was almost bleeding out. So I had a highway cop escort me to the animal hospital in Manhattan. And they didn't know if the dog was going to live or not, but she was out for like 2 weeks, which had about 30 stitches down her throat and stuff like that.
You were playing with her?
What's that?
You were playing with her?
Yeah, you know what they tell you never to throw. You know what? I usually have toys on you where you throw, or you work with the dog and you have fun with her, just to get her moving, and you get her ready to go into the search warrant. And I wound up throwing a stick, and the stick landed in the dirt. She ran full speed, and it got caught all the way up in her throat. So, and let me tell you something. The dog, you have to watch out for your dog, because you go into areas. I had cats, 2 cats going. The cats were underneath the bunk bed, and my dog went for a sniff, and they attacked her. I mean, I never seen so much hair and so much screaming from cats in my life. I was like, holy shit, is my dog going to get cut up and stuff? And that was another trip to the hospital because she got cut up. One of them bit her ear and stuff like that. So, it's just not, you go in for a nice little search and you find a job. No, there's all kinds of shit that's going to happen. I mean,
second, Garfield comes out at you.
Yeah, right. Garfield is right. Yeah, two brothers that don't want no part of dogs being in their house.
Well, think about it. Yeah, you're bringing a strange dog in there, and there's animals already living in there.
Yeah. Yeah, and a dog
sniffing around. Obviously they're going to be territorial. Like
I don't even know if they used to have them trained or whatever. They some. I mean, you
don't think about that kind of stuff, but that's a major situation there.
Yeah, I mean, once your dog is getting attacked by cats and stuff like that, I mean, you'd think your cats, whatever, but as a handler, you don't want your dog getting touched by anything. You got to keep that dog very clean. If you're bringing it home, you got fleas, you got bed bugs, you got rats, you got cats, you got other dogs. I was going to apartments where they had pit bulls bigger than gorillas in there. And I was like, dude, I am not bringing my dog unless those things are secured. I used to get ESU in there. So it was a lot. When you get your dog, when you have your dog with you, you want him to be safe just as much as you, because that dog could die at any time, anything. Somebody could pop out and blast the dog. You know what I mean? It's that simple. I've had guys that my dog found in closets with firearms on them and stuff like that. And it was a lot. But, as you as you get onto this unit, you basically address all the situations that you might get into. So it was, it was something where I always had to keep a heads up on her. And she's always looking up at me going, am I doing a good job? Am I doing a good job? And, I used to, used to help the dog. I used to treat her very well. She was a great, great dog.
Dogs, it's so beautiful. Dogs are the best. And it bothers me that, that they could get hurt like that by, even if it's by like you said, by cats jumping out. It's just so.
And you'd be like, you'd watch them. You couldn't do anything because they were. I mean, it looked like something in a cartoon. It'd be spinning around. The dog would be ripping. One be biting her ass and one be biting their ears and the face, and she couldn't. You hear her yelping and screaming, and what am I gonna do? Trying to. You can't grab these cats will rip you apart too. You know what I mean? So and you're not gonna pull out your piece and start blasting away. So
no, of course not.
So
I do want to ask another question, Mark, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, Paul. You mentioned your dog being a search and rescue dog. Dogs were of critical importance at Ground Zero. Were any dogs from the K9 narcotics unit used at to your knowledge, at Ground Zero?
Not of my knowledge. I don't think they wouldn't pull us in for something like that. I mean, they always, certain situations like that, bomb, or if there was a situation where it was a burglary or a robbery and there was somebody pinned or something like that, they would always call like ESU. The ESU dogs would come in. They always had the bloodhounds for search and rescue and stuff like that. So, but it was never, we were never used for anything with 9/11. So,
okay,
yeah.
So how did you end up? How did the career end up there? How long did you keep the dog for?
I had Taz for about 6 years. Actually, 7 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah. So
that's a long time.
Yeah, I almost lost her in Hurricane Sandy. That was a big thing.
You were telling me about that. That's an incredible story. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So basically,
Staten Island, right?
Yes. At the time, I lived in Staten Island, and we had the take-home car and stuff like that, and I had the dog cage. When in the beginning, when they gave us the take-home trucks, they were brand new Tahoes, and you were macking a crazy Tahoe with tinted windows. You know what I mean? So it was really nice, and they had the slip-in cage. It was perfect. It was customized, everything. But then all the upper echelons go like this. Yeah, you know what? I don't think these units need brand new Tahoes. I think we need to take them. So they used to take all our Tahoes, and they gave us the soccer vans. So we had
that soccer van.
Yeah, they had like little minivans. So now you're rolling up to areas where there's crowds around, knowing that there's a big arrest going on with the narcotic teams, and instead of rolling up with a macked out Tahoe, you're rolling up with a like a mom with 6 kids coming out of the back playing soccer. You know what I mean? But whatever. Anyway, but in certain situations, that happened to me when Hurricane Sandy hit. I had the dog at home, and basically I knew it was coming. I lived off the water in Tottenville, which was a block into the water. So my house was here. I had about 5 houses, and then I had the whole water in the beach. So that hit us really hard. We were like, it actually angled right into us in my area in Staten Island. So it was like a pathway for the big wave to come in, the surge. And at the time, I knew it was coming, but I didn't know that it was as bad. They said the hurricane before that was bad, and I had to tack down all my furniture in the backyard and stuff like that. I actually tied it up to my house, and I only got about 4 inches of water in my basement. And this one, when it came, it was insane. It came like a surge. I had 2 people actually die on my block, a father and a daughter, and but in that instance, I had my take-home radio, and when the water came and it surged, it ripped the houses apart. It spun the houses around. It smacked in. My whole front porch got wiped out by a house, and you could hear it was like 90-mile-an-hour winds. I mean, there's 100 stories, 1,000 stories you can hear up there about Hurricane Sandy. But for me, I was in the shootout and stuff like that. I would rather be in like 10 shootouts than see what happened than this happened to me, because It was me, my wife, and my wife was pregnant at the time, and it was my 2-year-old, and we had to get up to the second floor because the water rose so fast that it went through the basement and it sucked everything up into my second floor, and it went into the whole first floor. And then we had to go up into the second floor, and I only had a window outside to see what was going on. It was pitch black. So at the time, I had the dog with me, so I had to bring the dog upstairs with me, my wife and my kid. And so now I put it over the radio, and I had my radio with me, and I said, Central, be advised, this is a retired off-duty detective. I need a water rescue forthwith. I put over the address and everything. She says, be advised, no FD can get down to your location. My friend, who is a 30-year friend of mine that lived around the block with me, and his name is he was Officer Danny Ricciardi, and he worked out of the 123 precinct, which wasn't too far from me. And at the time, he heard my voice, and he was like, Z, is that you? And I'm like, Dan, I got to get out of here, Dan. The houses are coming down over here. So what he did was, don't worry, we're coming. That was the only thing. That was the last response I heard. And when they got to 3 blocks away from my house, the surge was like 3 feet of water. The FD guys, not to say anything, but they says, if you go down there, I mean, they were looking out for the cops too. They says, if you go down there, you might get killed. It's that bad. So they came on a boat. And basically they came down the block as far as they can. The winds were so bad, they got knocked off the boat. They came up to my house. My friend Danny swam up to my railings and basically pulled himself over. And because I had a high porch, and he basically he says, Z, we got to get out of here right now. And there was a captain with him, Captain Boccacino, and he commanded his guys to do I think it was like 6 guys that did a line. So we wrapped my son up in a blanket. I grabbed my wife, who was pregnant at the time. She was like 7 months pregnant. And I threw my guns and whatever thing in a backpack. And we jumped off the porch and we started swimming out of the water, through houses, we went over actually over roofs, cars. I had a restaurant that was around the block from me. All the furniture and everything was in the middle. There was trees down. There was everything in the middle. So it was very tough to get out of there. And finally, he got us out of there. We got us like 2 blocks away, and you could finally, hold on to the cars and walk out. And from there, we got out. They did the rescue, and then I'm going, shit, I got to go back for the fucking dog. I cannot leave her there. If that house comes down, I will feel bad. I would feel like the worst person. So my wife's like, you can't go back there. You can't go back. I says, I got to go back to the dog. He's my partner. So what I did was I went back with a bunch of guys, but they couldn't get to my area because there was so many trees. It was so frayed that I had to get through trees to get to the house. I mean, they used big, giant bulldozers to get to clean out the block when the water subsided. That's how much debris was on the block. So I got the dog, and the hardest part for me was holding the dog, because the dog, I don't think she could have swam out of there because it was like actually waves. So I had to hold her up and swim with her and get her to certain spots where I had to climb onto roofs. And I actually put a harness on her to make sure I could grab her by the waist. And I was just trying to hop her up and pull her up on certain roofs, over cars, over trees, through all kinds of furniture. It was insane. So I finally got her out of there, and it was like one of the craziest nights. I told my wife, she goes, "Are we gonna die?" I says, "I don't know." I says, "We might die in this. This is the worst I've ever seen it." So it was a crazy, crazy experience. And thank God I got the dog out of there too, because if I would have left her, it's just like leaving your baby behind. That's how close we were. So
telling you, when you're telling that story, I'm glad you guys are okay. I legit had chills running down my spine as you were telling that story. I can't even imagine. I'm so sorry that happened.
Yeah.
You know what? You earned it, man. You got a 12-step woman gave us a $9.99 super chat on that. So that was a phenomenal. You had me. Tim Acosta gave us a $10 super chat.
Oh, nice.
Man, what a story. 12-step woman, $1.99 super sticker. So thank you, everybody who's tuning in, man. That was a riveting story, because the thing is, obviously you can't experience what it's like to be in that type of peril if you're not in that area. We hear stories about different parts of the country where this kind of stuff is coming.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody has to deal with something. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard to find the perfect place in this country where there's no tornadoes, there's no hurricane season, there's no winter, where it's like Eden, and everybody has to deal with something. Unfortunately, we have to deal with winter here, and you had to deal with a hurricane.
Yeah.
That was my first. I mean, Irene down here in the tri-state, we all live in the tri-state area, of course, for now, until Mark moves out to Carolina. But, down here in New Haven, Connecticut, we have a big tree in front of my house. And my grandfather, who was 75 at the time, he came and stayed with us for safety purposes. And I remember it's kind of like that line in Enter Sandman by Metallica, sleep with one eye open. And so I was that entire night, because I heard the trees coming down the street, and I just kept wondering, is that tree out front going to come down? It was, it pales in comparison to what you went through. But yeah, that was by far the scariest thing.
You know what, Mike? You still think about in the back of your mind, and that's the hurricane, and so that could definitely happen. They say, like, you get up to 85, 90 mile an hour winds. That tree could have just accidentally just topped over onto the house and stuff like that. So that's how it was. It was like every 5 minutes I was wondering, is the house going to go down? Is this tree going to collapse onto mine? Is there another house that's going to crash into my house? You know what I mean?
So what happened after that? I mean, did you get to move back into that house? Or
no, I actually because it moved the foundation in the house. So it was you could I have a photo of it, but it's tilted sideways. The whole inside of the house was demolished. The whole first floor, all the floorboards were all watered up and everything. And you know what? I've been on that block for it was quite a few years. I was on that block for about 6 or 7 years, and basically every hurricane, I got to shit my pants and worry and I just put a brand new in-ground pool in there, and I got to worry if there's going to be another hurricane that's going to come and the water is going to come up towards my house and destroy the block again. So my wife was like, you know what? We ain't doing this again. We're out of here. So we wind up moving to another house.
To the Jersey Shore, right?
What's that?
You end up moving to the Jersey Shore.
Yeah. So we wind up moving to another house.
Just moved to another shore. Water, right?
Yeah. So
seriously, how far away are you from the water right now?
No, I'm far.
Really?
I'm in Marlboro. So Marlboro is like away from. It's about 40 minutes away from water. So I'm good. I don't want to move anywhere near water anymore. That's it. I'm done.
Aaron Rodriguez gave us, thank you, Aaron Rodriguez, for a $9.99 super chat. I think we did good tonight. I mean, listen, Bill usually runs his whole show, and he does a phenomenal job doing it. I never realized how much hard work it is, but you got to really pay attention to everything that's going on here. Yeah. And which brings us to this. I want to make sure I don't forget this. For those of us who don't know, the fans that are tuning in tonight, I am recording an album. The album, the current working title is called The Bangers. I've been doing this comedy thing for over 20 years. I have jokes that are killers. I'm putting them on the first album, and it's going to be called The Bangers. We're recording it at the New York Comedy Club on 4th Street. We have 2 shows, 7 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. on Sunday, April 25th. You can get tickets at newyorkcomedyclub.com, and if you put the coupon code in Mark with a K, you'll get the tickets for $10. They're $25 at the door, but they're only $10. And this album that I'm gonna be recording is gonna be found on Sirius. It's gonna be found on Spotify. When you're driving in your car, you're gonna have to listen to my jokes. It's gonna be great, though. I guarantee you, man. It's funny because you take such a long break. And I felt rusty, and I was because this is a deal that I had to record this album before the corona.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when everything started happening, we kept rescheduling. So now, okay, we're going to do it. And now it's also too, you got to work out a lot. And I'm finally starting to feel like, all right, I'm going to slap the shit out of these people.
That's it, man.
If you show up,
Hey, Mark, I was wondering if you're gonna grow your hair like there was in that picture. That hair is exciting, brother.
Which one is that? Oh,
Your
that
hair.
one?
That hair was
Yeah.
exciting. Oh, love it.
Yeah. That was like it kind of so that it grew. It wound up growing out a lot more. Like, and then when it fell down here, it was good. But
Yeah.
you know what it is? You get like one good day out of the month. The rest of the month, the rest of the days, I look like Benjamin Franklin. I got to wear a hat. Like the thing is just like because I got curly hair. Like, there's a lot of work. The way we rock it right now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's perfect. It's a little bit of touch up in the front. I blow dry the front a little bit, and we're ready to go.
Yep, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? And you know what I want to do? I want to do a special thing because for our sponsors that bother to. I just want to give them one last thing. So I want to bring it up one more time. If you're thinking about moving out of New York and South Carolina, Myrtle Beach area is something that's been in your head, a possibility. You could do no better than going with Carol Waters. She's got the Beach Realty Group, and she's been selling property over there for 11 years. Both her and her husband, who's a retired FDNY firefighter, work together. He was also on the NYPD. And to me, I don't know if you could do any better than moving over there to Myrtle Beach right now. That's the place to go. So check that out. It's a Carol Waters Sells MB at gmail.com. And don't forget about Silk City Hot Sauce.
Yeah.
Because they've been with us from the beginning, and they have a great product. And Paul, whatever happened to the dog?
Yeah, at the end, I had it for about so it was 8 years, and basically at the end, her legs and everything started going. She had when I got her, I found out she had Lyme disease. So basically the dog's joints and everything were in bad shape, and she was just losing it at the end, and I felt so bad for her, the way she was and her life and stuff like that. So I tell you, I when I put her down and I brought her to the last meal, I gave her a big steak and I gave her ice cream and stuff like that. I mean, she would have shit all over the house if I, yeah, she would have destroyed the house. But I gave her the biggest meal she could possibly want. And when I took her to the vet to put it down, it was like I've never went through something like that. I cried for an hour straight. A grown man would cry for an hour straight. Actually, the doctor came back in and goes, all right, I'll let you. Don't worry about it. Stay whatever as you want. I was crying, hugged up. I had the dog on top of me. It was just, the tongue was hanging out. But yeah, she was. And everybody that knew the dog, they miss her. My wife, my kids, and stuff. And she was a great dog, and
they become family.
Yeah, it becomes right, Mike. It comes exactly. That's what it is. It's family. I used to take the dog out for walks with the kids and stuff like that, but it definitely becomes a part of your life. And she was a big part of my life. I'll never forget her.
You know what I want to do to tie the bow on this, because we are over an hour right now. I just want to go back to where we met in the academy and how we bonded right off the bat. And we shared a common thing back then. We used to smoke cigarettes. And this might sound insane to people that are in the academy now or who have graduated from the police academy recently in College Point. But we, on our breaks, we used to smoke cigarettes in the bathroom there.
Yeah.
Somebody would look out and somebody would, what do we call them?
We would have just lookouts, and we would have.
What do we call the cigarettes, though?
Fonts.
I don't know.
I used to say, "Hey, Mark, you got a font? Let's font up right in the bathroom." And we used to go inside the stalls, close the door, and we'd have somebody assigned to the door. I mean, if you got caught in the academy smoking cigarettes, you're done. You're fine. They can fucking throw you out. You know what I mean?
But we did it every day.
Every day. Every day. You know what? That was it. You could smoke in the restaurants. You could smoke here. You could smoke there, and everything like that.
But we weren't really allowed to smoke. Even in restaurants, they would look for us, right?
Oh, forget it. I mean, we had an ICO once. This guy was like Steve Austin. I mean, the Bionic Man. He looked like Steve Austin. He had this suit on. It was tapered. It was mint. This guy was big. And one day I talked to you, and I was like, "Hey, dude, let's go. Let's go eat something. Where you want to go?" I says, "Let's go to the Oriental place around the block. We're going there. They got a back place There's a seats in the back. Nobody will find us. We can smoke. It would be great. So he's like, all right, good, nice. So we go back there. We order a meal with like stuff. I'm like, dude, give me a font. So we used to light up. And sure as shit, anything. This guy, I think he was a lieutenant or Sergeant Reese. This guy had a bionic eye. He came up to the fucking window, and the window was tinted of the Oriental restaurant. He came up to this, and he put his eye up to the window, and he was like, and you heard boop, 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 like he lost it. And he looked at us, and I was like, he's got us? And he was like, fuck, he's got us. And he goes, yes, get over here, you two. And we were behind like a paper mache, those paper mache things. We had everything. We had it all covered. We were good. This guy caught us, and we were like, he's got us, man. And he used to take the demerit cards from us. He was good, this guy. He was sharp as hell. Sharp as hell, man.
The star cards, right?
Oh, yeah, the star card, yeah. Oh, man.
We're at 8. We've been at this for an hour and 10 minutes. But before, I want to make sure that Mike, because I know you work your way through here, you probably didn't have the opportunity to ask all the questions that you wanted to ask. But if you could close out with something, you know what I'm saying? The best question that you got left, hit pull.
Oh, wow.
Right here.
All right. I got to take it home. What can I come up with? Well, I guess, there's a lot of dangerous jobs that you respond to over the course of a career in the fire department or in the police department in any city, but especially in a city like New York. But this is one question I always conclude with on my show, and that is, can you recall the funniest job you ever responded to?
Okay, Mike, I'm going to get you a good one. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm going to give it to you because this was a canine job. All right. Mm-hmm. You would think, some were funny and some were great, but bringing it back, I had to go to a crime scene with the dog because it was a drug-related crime scene. So it was a small little apartment on the side of a house. And guess who winds up showing up? It was I think it was the chief of narcotics. I think he was in the VO, and he basically came in. And I had crime scene. I had the detectives. I had the chief of narcotics there. I had another chief there. So I had to be on my shit. You know what I mean? So I had to my dog was ready to go. I got her all psyched up, but I didn't know what was gurgling in her stomach. You know what I'm getting at? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Because when I got her in that fucking apartment, there was a dead body not 3 feet away from me. And she took a diarrhea shit from the bedroom to the kitchen to the bathroom. So she shit all over the whole crime scene. Now everybody's got to do their work in there. This was like in the beginning. And she shit in the whole crime scene. And I looked at myself, I'm going, jeez, crap, what the really? This is the one place you got to shit your brains out in? and all the higher ups are looking at me going, all right, we're out of here. All right, we're out of here. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what the dog. I'm looking at the dog. I'm like, you stupid. So it was one of those things. But that was pretty much the most funniest, embarrassing thing I've ever went through with the dog or whatever. But that was it, man. That was it, Mike.
That's it. You know what's good about the way you tell the stories is that because you could tell that you guys with the dog, you had a really good relationship. It wasn't just you're not making believe. You know, there was some good days and then some times where she could be a little annoying the way anybody you were involved in a relationship with could be.
You know, the dog could be off sometimes. The dog could be off, and sometimes she doesn't want to search. She doesn't want to work. You know what I mean? But you as a handler have to get your dog psyched up and ready to work because every job is important. Every search warrant is important because you could be helping out the lead narcotic detective on the case, and if he doesn't find drugs, the case goes pretty much out the window. And these guys, these dealers and stuff, these other guys, they can hide these drugs so far high up and so far low that you'll never find them. They got them wrapped in, they got them hot mustard. They got them wrapped in coffee. They got them wrapped in detergent, in coffee grinds, and wrapped up in a box, double sealed. But guess what? My dog could find it. So that's what we were all about. You know what I mean? We were the last resort to help out the teams. Well,
hey, folks, if you enjoyed tonight's episode, we'd appreciate it if you consider joining our Patreon, where you'll find exclusive entertainment from Bill Cannon, my host, and myself. Bill does a true crime show. He just had Tommy Dades on, an incredible detective who's written a book, as well as I'm pretty sure the name is Larry Mazza.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, who was, he was a Colombo crime family, made guy, and it's an incredible episode, and he does a lot of those incredible episodes, man. He's really kicking ass in that, and those are exclusive on Patreon. I do, I tell stories on there. I do my story time with Mark DeMeo, and I also do one-on-one interviews, and we'd appreciate it if you consider joining our Patreon. And also, too, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to our YouTube page. It's Police Off the Cuff on YouTube. What can I say, man? Tonight's been a great episode. Paul, I know you were nervous going in, but you did phenomenal, man.
Thanks, brother. I mean, 29 years I haven't seen you. I mean, it's like me and you running the academy with those tight ass shorts on in front of me. You know what I mean?
Those shorts were tight, man. They were like the old basketball shorts that they used to wear.
Yeah, the white stripe on them, but your quads were extremely exploding out of them. They were just you were.
We had a good time.
I just want everybody to know in the audience that Mark was an extremely well put together gentleman when he was in the academy. But if you ask him what's in his wallet, he's got a picture of himself when he's bodybuilding. He's got a picture of him with a double bicep pose on stage. And I says, if you ever get in trouble, Mark, just pull out that picture, buddy.
It's funny, that was before social media, where you had to carry your own promotional picture along with you before you.
I mean, your body was insane, brother. I'm telling you, it was.
That's so nice of you to say that, man. And you got a beautiful family. I'm so happy that you're doing well. What are you doing now?
Oh God, I'm playing dad over here. You know what I mean? My wife's a school teacher. She works in Staten Island, so basically, kids come home off the bus, and I got to take care of everybody. One day when these kids get older, maybe I can go back to work or whatever. But for now, I'm just, I'm living a life out here. It's very peaceful, very quiet, very nice.
You're in a good spot right there.
You've earned it. Yeah. You've earned it.
Hey, Mike, what do you have coming up?
Oh, okay. So a couple, on my podcast, it's not exclusively law enforcement. As Mark said, it is called Mike in New Haven, MIC''D in New Haven. It's a wordplay on my old WFAN call-in name, which is Mike in New Haven. So on the sports side, Howard Beck, who's a writer for Sports Illustrated, he'll be coming up April 19th. And April 27th, I have a mini-series within the podcast called Tales from the Boom Room, in which I chronicle retired members of the NYPD's Arson and Explosion Squad, as well as the Bomb Squad. I just had Don Sadawi on, and I'm going to be having retired first-grade detective Paul Perricone on, who was in the Bomb Squad for 18 years and was also a former ESU cop. So exciting stuff coming up on the show.
Very nice.
Okay, on Thursday, I'm going to be my co-host on Thursday is going to be Irma Rivera. We got a surprise guest for you stopping in. It's going to be another excellent show. You know what? Listen, Bill does a lot of work here, man. I got to
Mark, you did good tonight, buddy. You held it down. It was. I mean,
listen,
I agree.
I think we were on point a little bit.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that before we go, we gave a shout out to everybody. I don't know if I mentioned 12-Step Woman earlier, but thanks for CPD USMC. Jose Gomez retired from Chicago, detective checking in. Thank you for checking in, by the way. Thank you for listening to everybody that paid attention tonight and joined the live chat. Princess Mitch, great job. Thank you. That's very nice of you to say that. So we got one more episode we're doing on Thursday, and Bill will be back next week. And what can I say, man? Thank you, Paul. It's great seeing you again.
It is, buddy, and I'm gonna come see you at your gigs. Believe you me, I heard you when you get that gig in Staten Island. I'm definitely gonna swing by.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Jersey too, so you don't even have to flip all the way to Staten Island. And Mike, thank you so much for sitting in.
Yeah, thanks.
No problem. It was an honor. It was my pleasure.
You did a great job.
Great job, Mike. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
For everybody who was with us tonight, I hope I found you, Michelina Serino. At Paul, I can't imagine what it was like. Yikes. So, yeah, I think she's going back to the poo-poo story.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in, folks, and make sure you tune in 7 p.m. on Thursday night for me and Irma and a surprise guest. It's going to be great again, and thank you guys. All the best to you.